Do not despise the humble beginnings. Those humble beginnings, that life that you grew up that is hard, whether in poverty, whatever circumstance it is, those lessons are not for you to come and use them and become the weapon formed against yourself, your community, and your loved ones. There are struggles that teach you resilience. There are struggles that teach you discipline. There are struggles that teach you respect. There are struggles that teach you community. There are struggles that teach you how to live with others. Those are struggles to help you become a better person, a better version. Because these situations and circumstances don't last for long. For long, maybe 10 years, a decade, 2 decades. But the 21st year, a door can open. We see people who were with their loved ones and they started from nothing. They struggle all the way and then they get the break of a lifetime. Let's say it's a career or let's say it's a business. They start looking down on their partners. They start looking down on their children. So all of a sudden, they're now in this business or corporate system. Now their spouse is not as beautiful or as handsome they were before. Why? Because where they are, they're being called all these lovey-dovey names. But they forget one thing. That person whom is giving them those names, that person is a different brand. But that person at home is a whole different person. And people come with their filters and all these characters, their illusions in their mind. And they come to a place and everybody pretends to be someone they are not. You despise your loved one. You despise your children, despise your parents, you despise those who've helped you. And I start to look at them as inferior. But when life strikes, when life gets hard, you know what happens? Those people whom you neglected, those people who looked down upon, those whom you called amateurs, they become the only hope. When that time comes, you're being taught to be laid to rest, you're taken back to your family. You're taken back to those who people believe should be your loved ones. Nobody will care about your car, your makeup, the women, the men, your status. You will be humbled. And wherever you will be placed to rest, that's your reality. And those things that you had or properties, those people you despised, they will enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, how you live with people matters. We have others who have been given great opportunities to work, let's say, in companies or run businesses that are very successful. They meet investors, they meet people, partners in the business world who elevate them. Sadly, they step down on their own people. They despise their own people. They insult their own people. They forget the people who helped them. They forget their humble beginnings. Now the food when you give them the same food they tasted when they were struggling, now it tastes so different. They don't want to talk the same language. They want to talk to look so sophisticated. Mind you, the people who they are trying to please, they are also struggling. The only interesting thing is there are many strugglers in one room and everybody is living in a lie. 3/4 living in debts. But you despise where it all started. Let's say you grew up in a time or in a life whereby fetching water, you'd put, all those utensils outside, anything that has a hole. You put your jerrycans, you put everything. That is the situation or was the situation. Now you've been elevated. You forget the people, you forget the life that you once lived. Now you're walking on air. You forget one thing. Life will humble you. If there's one generation I love so much, it's called Generation Alpha. Because of one thing. They do not mix their words. A 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old will humble you to the core. They will see the lies and they will call it out as it is. It is very important to never despise your humble beginnings. You've been opened doors. Now you live in a different country as an immigrant. Now you've gotten more income. You have more disposable income. You have a greater life. And the people who helped you or were with you, who stood with you, you start to look at them differently. Let's say in a country whereby the majority are of a different race from your own race. Now you start feeling like you're part of that race. You forget where you all started, but you forget another thing. When reality strikes, those people, they won't know you. It's the people who actually hurt you that will. Now, we are living in a time whereby we're seeing all these things with immigration, legal and illegal, finding themselves caught up in the whole mix. Where are people being sent? Back to where you came from. You know how messy it gets, to a point whereby, let's say you despised the people you are with, you despised their lifestyle, you despised everything. And this is very specific. Not for I'm here specific for those who look down on others. Eventually, when you're brought back to your motherland, you come with nothing. Because when you're being deported, you're picked from anywhere. You're in the washroom. You are buying a packet of milk. You are standing on a queue. Many people don't understand that. Let's say you're dropping off a child. You're doing something. You're picked from wherever it is, put in a concentration camp or wherever it is, thrown back to your motherland with nothing. So if you despised those ones, you think the people who you knew will welcome you? No. We see this in the corporate. You work, you realize everybody is like this class. I remember my experience a lot in the corporate. Sometimes I'll scratch my head and ask myself, do these people suffer like I've suffered, or is their suffering different? Because I'll pick just real life issues and I'll look like the weirdo in the room. And then afterwards, after people have left, one by one starts calling me, say, hey man, you couldn't have said that. Here I want to look like I'm rich. I'm like this. I'm like, why are you living a lie? And most of them lived on debt. When I mean debt, I mean debt. They had cars they couldn't afford. They had lived in homes they couldn't afford. They had debts of debts of debts. Why not be real? If you're rich, you're rich. You poor, you're wealthy, you're wealthy. Capiche? Just be humble. Don't despise your humble beginnings. Don't treat others lesser because you think you've made it. Because remember, to go high, but when you fall, oof, that downfall. And we see this even with many people who start up to be influencers. They start humbly, they become people known, they become favorized, then they get the blue ticks. When they get the blue ticks, they don't associate with small people. They're now on another level. But they forget one thing. Those people at that other level, not all of them are living the truth. Some are living lives they can afford. Some are living rental lives. And then these people, they're like, who are these small followers, these small things? Those are the real G's. Those are the real people. And when life hits them hard, these are the people they come to. Let's look at politicians. Humble beginnings. They start small, start well, cry for freedom. They get into power. They have bodyguards. They can make orders. They can say this. When they go to their own people, they don't want to associate. They forget how they struggled. They want to be treated in a particular type of way. And the scary ones, they have no limit to the level of destruction they'll do to their own people. Why? Because in that level they are in, the other political class of that level tell them these are just nothing. But when life and the whip of life cracks, you're brought to nothing. You're taken to that village you're brought up. That's where you'll be buried, that village where you despised your parents, you despised your community, you despised your siblings, you despised your wife. That's reality. How many people, if there's one thing the job taught me was one thing, many people lived the high life. But when people were locked down in their homes, when economies were crushed, all of a sudden people started realizing, oh, the food that was being prepared by their spouses was all of a sudden the best meal. People were humbled. Do you need to be humbled by life for you to remember to respect? Do you need to lose everything for you to remember how to live with others? Just because you're where you are, just because you can speak a language, remember you can be among people of a particular race. That's not your race or an ethnic type of community. It doesn't matter if you marry, do business, stay there for decades. You will never be them. You'll always be a different. And be proud. And there's nothing bad about it, or being of a different race in a predominant one race. The most important thing is respect. Respecting those of that culture, respecting where you've come from. Because when life hits hard, when people say, who's this, where is he or she from? Remember that word from? You're taken back to the roots. So the question is, do you have roots, or are those roots already been destroyed? Do not wait until you're humbled by life to learn to be humble. Never despise your humble beginnings, because life will hit you with one proper whip and will be brought to your knees. You don't need to meet life with this whip to be humbled. Never ever despise your humble beginnings. Those beginnings are there to teach you discipline, resilience, respect, love, honesty, and many other beautiful and amazing values and morals. Never despise your humble beginnings.